No voices, but there is something.
Bandersnatch was the final straw.
Doing it live.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This Podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And Ryan and I are drinking, so this is going to be a fun one. Cheers.
And I'm watching you drink, and it's amazing.
Cheers. Devin's all the way out in California and being sober.
And I can't pour him a glass of my Johnny White Walker right now because he's all the way out there. But anyway, we're not here to talk about alcohol. We're here to talk about Bandersnatch, the Benedict Cumberbatch biopic.
And I wish it was.
Oh, man.
Seriously, though, you know how many times I've heard him called Bandersnatch? Like, Humperdinck, like people don't know his name, and I swear Bandersnatch is one of the things that I've heard him be called before.
You know what? I bet you're right.
And I'm probably one of those people. I'll be fully honest on that one.
Yeah.
I'm a Cumberbitch. I'd never call him that.
You seem like a Cumberbitch.
Oh, I absolutely am a Cumberbitch.
Anyway, so shit. Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch is the Black Mirror choose your own adventure movie that premiered on Netflix over the holidays that I saw and was like, oh my God, we need to do this for the podcast because we're all going to get different shit and this will be awesome. So hopefully we all got different shit. I think Devin, how much of this did you watch? Because I think you watched it first.
I got all of them. I just did a little search and I got the 5 main endings. So I ended up doing all of it.
Okay, cool. Ryan, you just watched this today, right?
I watched half of it yesterday. Well, okay, so when I say half, I started it yesterday.
Okay.
And I had to stop right after I got the actor who played the evil kid in Toy Story. I got which I'm sorry. I know that he left Twitter, but yeah. I'm sorry, but when you look that close to an animated character,
yeah,
just run with it. Like, to be honest, but
is that why he left Twitter? People calling him Sid?
Yeah,
what?
people
Really?
called him Sid and and they were making fun of him.
I hate Twitter sometimes.
He left Twitter because of the bullying that he got. But anyway.
That's why I never use the show's Twitter. We're just on Facebook and Instagram at You Have to Watch This Podcast.
So I stopped there and then I picked it up today. I paid a lot more attention to it the day before than I did today, mainly because, to be perfectly honest, the whole picking thing started to annoy me.
Really?
Okay, we'll get into that.
Yeah, like I said, we'll get into that later.
I know I spent a good 2 hours playing with this and just seeing what I tried to do it for a story, and then I got to the point where I was like, okay, now I'm just gonna have fun with it, and then so I spent 2 hours ish watching it. So I don't think I got all of the endings. I may have. We'll get into that as well. Similar to Mary Poppins, I had some technical issues watching this because my main streaming device is an Apple TV. So I sat down, I had my food ready to go to watch this movie. I'm sitting on my couch, I hit play, and then I get a video from Netflix saying your device is not compatible with Bandersnatch. I'm like, fuck you, Netflix. And then it goes on to tell you that you have to watch it on either a gaming platform, your mobile device, or your PC.
Which I used my phone for this entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I used my computer, which wasn't ideal. I don't want to be sitting on the computer watching a movie like this. I wanted to sit on my couch and relax and make the choices, but
honestly, I think that might have made it more enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Like your setup here, having the 2 monitors, I think I would have gotten into it more if I had that kind of a setup, which I'll explain later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, you can get into that.
Okay.
Because I'm talking about Devin, what'd you watch it on?
Yeah.
I watched it on my gaming platform. I had a PS4, so I sat on my couch and I watched it. And it was
we have the Gambit here, not Gambit, but the whatever.
Yeah, we got all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ryan, how did you watch it?
I watched it on my cell phone.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was interesting. I'm not gonna say that I wasn't a fan of it out of the gate, but the first couple of things I found interesting, picking what cereal, because at first I was like, okay, why is it having me what he wants to eat for breakfast? And then I was like, well, depending on what you eat for breakfast really kind of does kind of set up your day. So I picked, now I can't remember. It wasn't the Sugar Puffs. It was the other thing.
The Frosties?
The Frosties, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, to be honest, the dad was like, Sugar Puffs or Frosties? And I'm like, Frosted Flakes. I could go for that. So I picked Frosted Flakes.
Devin, what did you pick?
Oh, absolutely Frosties.
Okay, so we all picked Frosties. So now we all have to go back and pick the other one just so it changes that one bit later on.
Could be a whole other story.
So I made a list of all the choices that I made. So
That's
okay.
In context right now, they don't really all make sense, but I don't know if that's the alcohol or just the fact that it's been a week. But yeah, so Frosties was definitely my first choice.
And then, then I was okay. So I saw the character. I saw the issue. It was with the dad. I thought the dad locking the door was kind of weird, which that happened like right at the beginning. The dad locking the bedroom door. I was like, okay, that's weird. So watching it, I picked the frosted. I picked the Frosted Flakes, whatever. And he gets on the bus and he's like, okay, you can go ahead and pick your music. I'm like, okay, cool. So this is probably going to affect, the songs for the movie. And to be honest, I didn't really recognize either band at first until it was the one on the left. It was the new something or
now too.
Now,
yeah,
that's what I picked.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Yeah. So
I
went with the one on the left, and he was reading through the book of the guy that wrote the book that he was
that
he was trying to, and they were showing like the pictures of like his dead wife and the crazy things, and that is when the movie started going south for me personally.
Oh yeah,
two choices in.
Okay. And do you want me to continue on that, or do you want to wait?
I want to try to avoid spoilers for a little bit.
Okay. I'll cut it off there after we get to us talking about it. I'll get into why I
spoiled
didn't
the first
like
two choices of this if you haven't seen Bandersnatch. Nothing really that heavy, just the cereal and the music.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it.
Going into it, I only knew the first choice because that's what BuzzFeed was like, this is how it works. And first you pick the cereal, and that's all we're going to tell you. Go watch it.
Oh, yeah.
So I really like this as a setup, though. Like, without getting into spoilers, I really like the choose your own adventure with Netflix. Like, it makes sense.
I do under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
And just like a heads up on where I'm going, on how I felt about the movie. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of picking your own adventure for a movie, quote unquote, a movie. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Maybe like a TV show or something, or like a series.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I would like it more.
I think if you look at this as an episode of Black Mirror instead of the movie event that they're advertising it as, I think it works better. I think they call it a movie event just so they can get some awards down the line.
Oh, maybe. Now, do you not like it because you think it took away from your viewing experience? Like, do you think that it detracted from anything, or do you think it helped you get into the plot more?
That was part of it because me as a viewer, like I felt for the guy, he has this idea, he feels bad about what happened. But like when I watch something, and I've told Alan this before, like when I get into a movie, I feel for the characters.
Yeah.
And me having to make a decision for them at like a very critical point of like what would I do compared to what would be cool for me to see on the screen takes me completely out of it.
So is that how you went about it? Like, what would you do? Like, if you were that guy?
Back and forth.
Okay.
Because because like the first one with the cereal, I definitely like Frosted Flakes, so I'll pick the Frosties.
Yeah.
And then, as with the music, I was going off of because I didn't recognize either band, I was going off what was on the cover art.
Yeah.
of, like, okay, so it's 1984. What kind of, music would, do I think that this is going to be? And then after that, I went from, okay, I definitely would do this. I want to see this guy make a rational, choice right now.
Yeah.
And then there were other times where I'm like, I think this could be interesting. So I picked something else.
So real quick, Devin, what was your way of going about making your choices?
So it was weird, but I think I ended up doing what you had mentioned a little bit in the last episode, or maybe we talked about it off the podcast, but I started to try to do what I think the writers wanted me to do. Because, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's a decision you make earlier on where there's a right decision and there's a wrong decision. And if you make the wrong decision, a character tells you, wrong decision, try again.
Yeah.
And then you try again. And at that point I go, okay, there are right and wrong decisions, not just what Devin wants to do.
See,
so that informed a lot of it.
See, I didn't see that as right and wrong, though, because I ran into that my first time through.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it as like right or wrong. I just saw that as, you pick it, that character says that, and then you have what eventually happens. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is just hitting the restart button.
Yeah, I think either one of those was a right choice. I don't think either one of them was wrong, because I think that one was put there on purpose, because that's very the slight spoilers if you haven't seen this yet. But that one's very early on in the movie, and when that happened to me, because I made the quote unquote wrong choice, I just leaned back and I said to my wife, who's in the other room, it's like, I think I've just finished it. And I was only like 15 minutes into it.
See, that I was very happy that you talked about that, though, because I figured that's what you meant, because it was like 15 minutes into it. And I'm like, okay, so that happened. And I'm like, well, I went with what I thought would be the more rational choice, for him.
Right.
And then they show what eventually happens. And I was like, okay, whatever. So then I went the other direction with it. And it's just, the further it got, the more like I just rubbing my brow.
See, Debbie, you talked about like choosing what you thought the screenwriters wanted you to choose. I tried to go about choosing what I thought would make the story more interesting. Like if I was writing this, which would be the most interesting way to go about it? At least my first time through. And then when I started going back and getting second choices again, I was like, oh, I'm just going to have fun with this.
Oh, me too.
And
Absolutely.
There's a big example I don't know if Ryan got to that we'll talk about later. But overall, this really did feel like an episode of Black Mirror. I know, Devin, you've watched the show. I've seen the first 2 seasons. I'm way behind. And we had to explain to Ryan what Black Mirror was.
I mean, I kind of get the concept of it. I do. Yeah. And this definitely gives me more of an idea of like what the episodes are about, and especially talking to some people at work about it today. Today. It's just, I feel like I would like the show and the episodes more than I liked this.
Okay, that's fair.
Would you like to see more shows like this, though? Like if it wasn't a Black Mirror, let's say it was like, I don't know, House of Cards, or like something else that Netflix does. Like, would you guys like an episode like that where like
choose Buffy, your own adventure, Kimmy Schmidt?
if it's under a season format of 1 or 2 options an episode. So then that gives you like, because then here, to me, this would be more interesting. Have this movie, this storyline, be stretched out over maybe 6 episodes. Add more detail to it. Have maybe 2 to 3 choices an episode. So then you can have more fun with it. Instead of just one shot through, you can have, a season of Black Mirror or like a special edition season where you have 5, 6, 7, 8 endings to the actual show itself. To me, that'd be more interesting. Plus, I would really like this to be considered a game and not an actual like a viewing experience. No, this is a game. Like this should have like this is a reverse to the type of game that he was developing.
Yeah.
Like this is just an old school computer game. That's all this is. Yeah,
this is, and that plays into the episode as well, because that's the whole point of the episode is him designing this game, and that works on a whole nother level. Mm-hmm. I completely disagree with you on they should do a whole season like this. I think if it has to be one-offs like this. You can't tell just for example, let's talk a Netflix show that just got canceled, Daredevil. You can't do a choose your own adventure Daredevil, because that if you do each episode where it's choose your own adventure, you have like production wise, you have to go in and shoot all of those different endings for all those different episodes. So you're for one episode, you're either doubling, if not tripling or quadrupling the number of scenes you have to shoot and write and edit. Like it just makes production cost go way up. And you're not going to get as many episodes out of that.
That's why I said like 6 episodes.
Still, but still,
just like, a short thing.
But the other thing is, if you're doing a serialized story, then it's not uniform, and then you don't have that water cooler buzz of, hey, did you watch Daredevil? That hallway scene was really cool. Oh, I didn't see a hallway scene. All I saw was him be blind in the courtroom.
But see, the thing is, here's the thing. Instead of that, and that's the classic water cooler, be like, hey, did you see this? What did you think? It turns into just offshoot questions about, hey, so on last night's episode, which ending did you get? We're like, hey, what choice did you make? It changes that. It doesn't change the water cooler it doesn't
the
change
conversation. It changes the conversation, but it also changes the viewer experience. Because if you and I are talking about Daredevil and you say that you got to see the hallway scene and I didn't, and I don't feel like going back and watching the whole episode just to get to that choice again, then I'm not gonna go back. Like I'm not gonna go back and just to watch it for myself.
Which is how I feel about this entire movie. Which is how
you wouldn't go back and watch it.
I was talking to my brother who watched this, and he said they should do the whole next season of Black Mirror this way. I was like, no, they shouldn't. I feel like the one-offs are the way to go. Devin, what do you think?
I mean, I go back and forth. So I have never, you guys have been there the only time I was ever through any sort of like movie productions thing. And like, you guys know, like all of the experience I have, it's not much. So I wasn't obviously thinking about that. The only thing that would bother me if it was a whole season, because I think a whole season would be very cool. I think it would be an interesting thing to look at. And I'm sure that they could handle it in a way that might be able to like mitigate some of the problems. The only thing that I think would bother me would be continuity. So like, let's say they do a season of like a serialized show like Daredevil or something like that. You're allowed to pick your choices and you get your ending to Daredevil. How do they do a follow-up season then?
Yeah.
Like trying to incorporate all of those. And like, maybe that's like, I don't know, maybe that's only good for like the final season of a show or something like that. And like, you get to choose like how that Daredevil turns out based on what you think he should or how he should. But I think that's the only part that bothers me. And I do want to talk about that in relation to this episode then.
Okay.
Because this episode blew my mind with some of that stuff.
That's why, like I said, 6 episodes, no more.
Yeah.
And offshoots like this. So it wouldn't be Daredevil. It wouldn't be House of Cards.
It has to be an anthology show.
Well, it's got to be a show like this where, or like, let's say, American Horror Story. Because every season's different. Now they are doing a season now that has like a bunch of the storylines like combining of the characters.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So that's different. But like, let's take Black Mirror, okay, and let's take this specifically and go, okay, so somebody in the room has an idea for a 6-episode like short season special.
Yeah.
Okay. And they want to do this format for it. There's never going to be a season 2.
Right.
There's never going to be a prequel to it. That's the only way this would work, flat out.
Yeah.
And And for cost, I mean, hell, I would even knock it down to maybe one choice an episode. Have it somewhere in the episode, like, like episode 1, there might be 2. The rest of them, it's all 1. Because the first one is maybe like, the character taking a left instead of a right. So they have a longer commute compared to a shorter commute, or having a shorter commute compared to a longer commute, and how that affects their day. And the music for the show. And then, like everything else is, do they hit the snooze button? Is that the start of the episode or not? I mean, like, because it's something that's very special, and it's something that is so unique that you can't do like a serial like show. You just can't. Because of what you guys are talking about.
But for an anthology show like Black Mirror or The Twilight Zone, it would work.
Yeah. Very, very, very specific circumstances.
Yeah. Okay, I think we agree on that. I don't want a whole season of choices, because I don't want to have to sit at my computer and watch a whole season of a show. Like, if it's not going to work on all platforms so I can watch it on my TV, it should.
Yeah.
Like 1 episode a season or 2 episodes a season, fine. I'm okay with that. But if you're going to give me a 10 episode season all at once, where every one is a choice, and I can't watch it on my TV, sorry, I'm going.
Well, I think that's also a big thing too. Is I think if this is going to continue and they need to do this more, they're going to have to try to incorporate more devices so more people can watch it. Like, I mean, especially so people don't have to watch it.
Because to be honest, that's another reason why I'm not a fan of this at the moment, is because of the issue you dealt with, Alan.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's not that it was not available on a lot of devices. Like, Apple TV has games available on it. Like, I can play. I have Sonic the Hedgehog on my Apple TV.
Oh, that's cool.
I can use my phone as a game controller. Like, that's not the issue. I think the issue with Apple TV is the way that the formatting works. Is I used to work on supplying stuff to an app on Apple TV, and it was a pain in the ass. So the way that Netflix probably goes through that app is probably different.
Okay.
So I think it's a hosting issue with Apple.
That makes sense.
So it's not really Netflix's fault. That's more of an Apple problem, and it's just like just because I don't have a smart TV or a gaming console, I shouldn't be punished to my computer. Yeah. Not that I have a bad computer. I like my computer. It's good to me and doesn't crash when we're doing podcasts,
which is good.
As I just drink more. Okay, real quick before we get into spoilers. I'm sitting here looking at this bottle of Johnny White Walker, and it actually says distilled, blended, and bottled north of the wall. So this is Wyland shit. It's good. Okay, let's get into spoilers.
Hold on, before spoilers, I do have one question for you guys. I just looked up a Screen Rant article that says this is the best way to watch Bandersnatch.
Okay.
And it lists every decision for you. Do you think that there should be such a thing as a right way to watch this movie?
I think it's a matter of opinion, honestly. Like, I think just because that one writer said this is the best way to watch it doesn't mean that that's the best way. I think if you're looking for a certain type of story, there's a certain way to watch it.
Sure.
Like, for sure. If you're looking for something that is batshit crazy at points, then there's definitely a different way to watch it. But if you're looking for something that's like, it all depends on the mood of the viewer. And so I don't think there is one right way or one wrong way to watch it. I think it's all in the eye of the beholder.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
For people like me, who this really got me out of it. The first time through, it, I would really like there to be settings where, not just settings, but like options or, kind of like an information center for people who have actually been through it and saw it once.
Like a cheat sheet?
Kind of. And have it be, do you want to watch, have it set up to where, do you want to watch a crazy movie? Well, select these. Do you want to see this type of movie? Select these.
Make it like a dating profile.
Yep. I'm serious. So that plus another setting, which I think would be really cool, is to have it set to where when the questions come up, to give you the percentage of how many times they've been clicked on.
That's actually what I was looking up, is if they had that information, because I've played video games that play exactly like this, where there's like no real gameplay except for choices that you make like this, and they tell you afterwards this percent of person chose this percent of people chose this, and that's what I was looking for, and I can't find it. Like I don't think they've released those yet.
And I would really like that to be under the choices. So like where it says, like Sugar Puffs versus Frosties, it'll say at the bottom, 13% for Sugar Puffs, maybe 60% for now.
I think 13% for Sugar Puffs is a little bit high.
Now
13%.
Now, like I said, this would all of these things would like appear after you've watched it through once. So kind of like an achievement.
Right. Yeah.
No, that would be cool.
If it makes you guys feel any better, the Screen Rant article said that Sugar Puffs are the best choice, and that the Now ones is the incorrect choice. So all of our first two choices were wrong according to this article.
Well,
I don't trust
guess
you.
what?
It's Screen Rant, so
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care.
Wait.
Aren't they the ones who do the pitch meeting videos on YouTube?
I don't know.
I hate those.
I don't know what that is.
They're cringeworthy.
It's just like that YouTube video that we were watching before we started. Like there's a reason why I'm not a big YouTube person, and it's stuff like that is the reason why.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be pointing at the screen at the camera, but that was the screen we were watching it on, Devin. So I don't mean to be like blaming you.
Real quick, I know that this was a long time coming because about 2 years ago, Netflix announced a deal with Telltale Games.
Yep, that's right.
And they have since gone under, so I don't know if their deal is still happening, but they're supposed to bring all of those games to Netflix.
Yeah, they went under in a really ugly way too. I feel like they might not do that. Like it was bad.
Yeah, so I was really looking forward to like playing like that Batman game and that Game of Thrones game, which probably wouldn't have shown up on Netflix, but like the Minecraft one, like it's choose your own adventure stuff. But like they've been working on that stuff like this for a while, so I don't think that this is gonna deter them at all. If people didn't like, I think people like it. I think overall it's been a hit. Maybe not to the level of Bird Box, but we're
we gotta do an episode on Bird Box.
It's kind of hard to do memes from this movie though, because the only thing that absolutely everybody watches is like the start of the film up until the first choice.
I've seen one meme from this, and it's the scene from Infinity War where they have Thanos tied up and Star-Lord's just standing there in front of him. And it's like, this is the choose your own adventure we need. And it's like punch Star-Lord or punch Thanos or calm down, Peter.
Follow plan. I think it was.
Plan. Yeah.
I like that.
That's the only meme I've seen from this. So
but I mean like memes of like screenshots from the movie itself. I think like the only way to do that as of now is from the very first scene.
I can see the symbol becoming a meme.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're gonna get into spoilers now.
So are we in spoilers now?
Yes.
Okay, so the meme would be the symbol showing up. Whenever somebody's about to rage out.
Okay.
That would be my use of it anyway.
All right. So Ryan, it seems like you watched the least of this. How did it end for you?
Oh yeah.
The movie set?
Huh?
The movie set.
Was that your ending?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. I did not get this ending.
You didn't get this one.
I didn't get this one. No.
Yeah,
so exciting.
He's if I remember correctly, because like I said, I wasn't paying that much like attention to it at that point because I was getting tired of it.
Fill in gaps.
And he starts like flipping out, and I remember like, oh my god, great, this again. So then I stopped paying attention, and then I heard like a bell or something ring, and I looked down, and they're on a movie set.
Yep. So the whole thing's a movie?
Yeah, so
pretty much.
This is the one that freaked me out. So basically, what happens, I think, to get this is you have he gets to this point where he's looking at something on a computer screen, and you have two options. You can either choose because the computer's like talking to him, and he goes, "Who is this?" And you can either choose that symbol, or you can choose Netflix. And if you choose Netflix and you say that you're watching him on Netflix, it will cut and it will show them filming this episode of Bandersnatch. And the actor that's playing that character is actually freaking out.
Okay. So I chose the Netflix option at one point, and I did not get that ending.
Really?
No. And I'm curious because I guess you guys didn't get the ending that I got when I chose Netflix, which is completely different.
What's the ending you got?
The ending I got, because you choose Netflix, And then it goes through and it's like, you explained it with him what Netflix is a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then his dad comes in and he's like, I'm going to take you to the doctor. So then it's him talking to the therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And the therapist says something along the lines of, this is, if somebody was watching this for entertainment, this is really boring. You're just in a room with me. This is really boring. Don't you think it should be more action filled?
Yeah.
And one of the options is fuck yeah. So I chose fuck yeah. And then they both stand up, push all the furniture out of the way, and have a Matrix style fight scene.
You actually saw the fight scene?
Yeah, I saw the fight scene. And then the dad comes in. The dad comes in. The dad comes in, starts fighting with the son, and he has him like pinned up against the wall, like choking him out. And then you get the option of punch him in the face or kick him in the balls.
What?
See, this just adds to why I'm not like this. Just not like.
Man. To be fair, this is about my third ending that I got.
Okay,
so
you and I have opposite reactions. That made me love it more. Like now, I want to go back and watch this shit.
Talking about it doesn't do it justice. Like,
no. I totally understand.
Yeah.
My thing, because like I said before, when I get into it, like I started feeling for the guy. Like, oh my God, he thinks that he's responsible for his mom. Or if he doesn't think he's responsible for his mom, he thinks his dad is, because he goes back and forth on that.
Yeah.
And that confused the shit out of me. And then the only time that I ever selected something that was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this because it's, rash. I'm gonna do this because it's rational. I only went against that twice. And that was when I had him follow the other programmer to his flat. And then when I did the whole like Netflix thing and then pulled back and it, like they were on the show, it just, I'm the type of person that when I have you guys seen My Sister's Keeper or The Other Sister? The one with the guy, I'm not good with actors' names. The guy who plays the boss on Avatar.
Okay.
The one that's like running the whole show, the short guy.
Yeah, Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah, he plays in a movie where he plays somebody who's mentally challenged. Yeah. And he's living on his own. And there's a girl who's about the same age who comes from a rich family who's also mentally challenged. And she meets him at a community college and they become friends or whatever. Well, there's a scene where they start like a love affair. And like it's a really good movie. Like it sucked me right into it. And something happened where they had a falling out and she's yelling at him and he's crying and and all this other stuff. And he gets drunk and gets up on stage at a wedding and starts like professing his love for her in a very, very, very embarrassing way. I had to get up and leave the room because I felt too uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Like that's the type of person I am when I get invested into a character. Yeah. And so this concept tortured me.
Yeah.
And that's why I stopped like paying a lot of attention to things because I wanted to go through and like hit the different options and try to get through it because at a certain point I just wanted it to be over.
Yeah.
So I was trying to select things to try to speed the storyline along, and then half the time half the stuff I did made me feel like I stretched it out even further.
Okay.
So was the Netflix ending the only ending you got, Ryan?
Yeah, because like I said, I got one time through it. I got work today and the game today and all this other stuff.
I would definitely, when you get a chance, if you're up for it, just sit down and watch it on your TV.
Yeah.
And try to give it another shot and get a different ending because
there are endings that are great.
Yeah, there were like every other ending that I got, like there were a few that got me in the feels. Like
yes.
Which one was it? There was one where he gets the toy back and then time travels.
Yes.
And
then he goes back in time to when he was with his mom.
To be honest, after I watched it, I also looked it up on online, so I read through a few of them, which they do sound interesting, but again, I don't like. Mm-hmm. I don't like this format for this kind of a storyline because I really like the storyline.
Then maybe get like a cheat sheet and then just go through and choose.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm probably
That might
going
be
to
the
do
best
that
way to do that
because I mean, like I said, I loved the concept of this story of this guy who clearly has mental health issues. Clearly, he's dealing with this issue, but he has something that he's passionate about and he wants to complete. And then you have this guy that he looks up to, and personally, in my opinion, completely screw him over.
Yeah.
The whole like pot and LSD trip to me was the worst thing that could have happened to him.
Yeah.
Like that was one of those things as me picking like, I don't want him to go in and talk to the shrink. I want him to go follow the guy because if I was watching this, that would make it interesting for me. And then he takes him up to his flat and here, this is Kitty and this is my little girl, and starts talking about like the government has people planted as family members and there's another spirit out there controlling you. To be perfectly honest, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit at that. I'm like, oh, come on.
But
they're breaking the fourth wall.
To be fair, those are both endings to this.
They are, though.
Which I got. So since we're talking about the flat, when it came time to choose who jumped, who did you guys pick the first time?
I only did this choice once, actually. I never went back and redid this choice, and I let the other guy jump. I'm like, fine, if you're so sure about this, do it.
I had the main guy jump the first time.
How did that? I mean, did it just like reset everything right away?
It pretty much. You get a first person shot of him going down and hitting the trailer down below and just blood splattering. It goes to black and then takes you back to the choice where you wake up in the car and then go into like outside the doctor's office and then you choose to follow him again. So, but yeah, and then I had him jump the next time because why not?
Or you have to choose because you knew it was going to happen.
I was just curious. Like I was taking it seriously up to that point, but I'm really curious what happens when I have him jump, because I think it did play into it a little bit differently the next time. Like he I feel like he had a sense of I've been here before.
Okay.
So
because that's what happened when I had him for the third choice. I had him say yes to making the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the whole thing where like they go through the dad locking the door and picking the cereal and being on the bus and, going in and like the guy's standing there watching his idol like work on this game and the thing crashed and he goes, oh, the eyes went through and crashed the memory. And he looked at him like, how did you know that? And I'm like, okay, I can roll with this. It's kind of like a deja vu thing. Totally get it. Everybody has deja vu. There's always been theories out there that deja vu is like you resetting or something. Like I totally, I can roll with this. I'm good. Yeah. It wasn't until during the LSD trip that he was like, there's spirits out there controlling us. And this is where I rolled my eyes a little bit. And this is where I have issues with that type of stuff. Like it wasn't the conspiracy theory part. It was, if you're going to break the fourth wall in some type of way, I'm saying that wrong. Okay. So the best thing that I can do is go to the Matrix with it. The first time the Matrix came out, I felt like that was the first time in my life I ever looked at my friends and went, are you seriously? You didn't get this? Are you serious? You didn't get this? Because of how I watch movies. I pay attention. I'm quiet. Like I try to absorb as much as I can, as long as I'm interested.
Yeah.
Right.
And off the bat, I understood the Matrix completely.
Right.
It's everybody's encased in these cone thingies, and the machines are using their bodies and their brain waves to keep themselves running. And the machines made this like computer program that everybody's linked into and lives a life technically free of, having free will, quote unquote, technically. And I mean, that's pretty much it. And then Neo was supposed to be this prophesied one to like basically be a glitch in the software and bring the whole thing down. And I remember like being at school the next day after that weekend of kids seeing the movie go, oh man, I didn't get it. And I'm sitting there going, dude, it's simple. Like, what do you mean you didn't get it? So watching movies and understanding from like the Matrix, you know, like thinking of like not just going down, you know, what's the meaning between the words, but going into what's the meaning between the words plus in the physical action and what's in the background, and then pulling from that. Like, I'm not going to lie. I like stuff like that. But to me, when he said that there is this guiding spirit that's making choices for you, like, to me, that was just like, oh, they're referencing me as the viewer watching. They're trying to pull me into it. Like, I felt like that was almost like the ending of 10 Cloverfield Lane when she gets up out of the
bunker.
The bunker, and she sees an alien spaceship. And that would have been enough. Be like, oh my God, the psycho was right. He's still a psycho, but he was right. And then they spend another 10 minutes of the film having the UFO come by and her having a fight with it. Almost like they couldn't just deal with the fact that people would be asking questions about it. Like, it just...
Right.
Okay, I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No. You bring up a good point, Ryan, because I think you bring up my biggest problem with this movie. So I liked it. Like, overall, I don't know if you guys have gotten that tone. I enjoyed it. My biggest problem with it is that I think Choose Your Own Adventures are cool. I think this just kind of shoved in your face too much how meta it was. It was like, this is a Choose Your Own Adventure movie about someone making a Choose Your Own Adventure game, and they're going to make you choose your own. And like, everything that they did was about choosing your own adventure and was about all of these plots and divergent paths and stuff. And it almost seemed like the movie started talking about itself too much. And if they slipped a couple lines in there, I think it would have been clever. I think they hit us over the head with it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But I also think that looking at it from the production standpoint of Netflix and Black Mirror, you're going to have people who have Netflix and love Black Mirror that have never heard of a Choose Your Own Adventure show.
And I think that's totally my bias.
Because the only Choose Your Own Adventure book I've ever read was Neil Patrick Harris's autobiography. So
really, I have one of the classic ones. I literally just found it on my bookshelf. It's like You're a Kung Fu Master, the book. It's amazing.
Oh, nice.
See, the thing is, I knew that they were books. I've never read them, but I knew that they were games.
Yeah.
And so
I
never
really got into those kind of games, though.
I didn't either. I just knew of them. I knew people who played them, and that was it. And I kind of get the concept a little bit, because one of the things, like, when I was younger, like after The Matrix came out, like I kind of got on kind of like a philosophy kick, where I wanted to look up, you know, it's like as much as I could, and like, you know, it's like little short stories.
So you bought all these books.
No, I didn't.
No.
Okay.
So you go out, you buy all these books on philosophy, and then Matrix 2 and 3 come out, and you throw them all in the trash.
So here we go. That was a good joke, I have to admit. So I went from everything from like short stories about how like one day this guy's at a party and he falls backwards in his chair, and all of a sudden he can start feeling the earth move. Like things like that, to an idea that nobody really dies. And the whole thing about deja vu that I actually touched on, that like I could have died in a car accident going to work today. I had deja vu going to work today. It means that in that reality, I'm dead. We're not doing the podcast today because I passed away. But in this reality, because it restarted itself, I'm here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are hundreds of fascinating ideas about life and, you know, death and everything. And there's a lot of the stuff that I know about and that I don't really think about until something reminds me of it. And this movie just like, oh, I've heard of that before. Oh, I've heard of that before. Yeah. Oh, I've heard about it before. Oh my God, that's a very simplified version of this. Like that's another reason why I just got kind of lost in it. And I think it's because of Devin, of what you said about it being meta, about like, there's a book that's an adventure story in it. There's a video game that's an adventure story in it. One of the conspiracy theories spouted by one of the characters is that, oh, you're being guided by this. Now, I would love this more, I think, if it was a comedy. If it was like a straight up comedy, and, you know, every time you did something that like restarted it, you would have like one of the characters kind of look at the TV and go, why do you keep on doing this to me? or something.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that since this was the first Choose Your Own Adventure for Netflix, I think that they did go maybe a little too heavy with it's a Choose Your Own Adventure in the Choose Your Own Adventure. I think if they go forward with this in the future, that's not going to be the case.
I understand why they did it that way.
Right.
I
do
that
too.
way. I understand why they kind of forced it because, like you said, people probably didn't know, but still, like that's yeah.
Well, at that point, especially when they went like, "There's a guiding force," and like the guy's like, "I have compulsions, and I don't know how to like stop them or anything like that." I went, "What if I restart this whole thing and don't make a single choice for them? I wonder what's going to happen." And I still want to do that. I haven't, but I want to. What's up?
It randomly picks.
Well, then that's a whole different way to watch it.
Does it randomly pick?
Picks.
Does it randomly pick, or does it have a way that it wants you to watch it?
Yeah, see, that's what I wondered.
I read up on it.
Yeah.
I read up on it. The directors and Netflix, it's got a random engine on it, and it randomly picks a way for you. So every time you watch it and you don't pick anything, it'll just give you a random thing. It's kind of like, because these like random engines kind of work like flipping a coin. Like it's kind of the same thing.
So they're random?
Yeah.
I like that. All right. So Alan, you said you got more endings than I did. Was there?
No, I thought you got more.
Oh no, you did. Sorry. You got more endings than Ryan did.
Yes.
Was there an ending that you viewed as like the ending? Like, this is the end of it. This is my favorite. It's how I choose to say that the show ended.
Yeah, it's the one where it's the one where the whole thing is being made for Netflix. Like the daughter is editing the show for Netflix. That's the ending I choose to think of as the ending, because I think that's the first one I actually got to the end of. Got it.
I think my first real ending was the jail ending, where he was like in jail because he killed his dad.
Yeah.
That one is my favorite ending as far as like the most Black Mirror-esque ending. And then it's like a whole cycle. My favorite one is the one where he's a kid again.
Which way did he kill his dad? Which way did you have him kill his dad?
He hit him in the kitchen over the head with, it was like an ashtray, I think.
Did he bury or cut up the body?
Cut up the body.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Did you guys get the phone number right?
Yes.
What happens? Because I messed the phone number up. Mostly because I was drinking a little bit.
Shit, what did happen?
Because, I mean, for this, he, like, dialed it. He's like, wrong number, and hung up. And then, like, he showed up in, like, the psychiatrist's office.
I'm trying to remember. He calls in. Mm-hmm. The secretary answers. She's not available. She takes a message. And I can't remember what happens after that.
I must have totally missed that one.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that.
How did Dad die for you then?
The dad died the same way for me. I did both options of chopping up the body and burying it, but I knew that burying it was a bad idea because of the dog at the beginning, who kept digging up.
Yeah.
So I avoided that one, but then I came back to it, and when he chooses to bury the body, the developer calls, ask him where the thing is, and then he sends the Sid guy out to the house to look for him to see what was going on, and he goes in, takes him up to his bedroom and sees everything on the wall, and says, "Wow, you've really gotten into this." And he has a knife, and he's like, "I killed my dad." He's like, "Yeah, of course you did. All right. Well, I'm out of here." And then he leaves. you see him burying the body in the backyard, and you just hear the sirens go, and he's in jail. So that's the other way that he's in jail.
Yep, I've seen that one too.
Yeah. But yeah, the one where he goes back and is a kid again. What was the actual ending that you had for that?
So that one is he got his toy again, and he ended up catching the train with his mom, and it ended up with him and his mom on the train while, like, it was called like Electric Embrace or whatever. It was a really good song in the background played, and I think you get you get the idea. They don't show it, but I think you get the idea that they both die together on the train.
Okay.
Which I read about that one.
Yeah.
And they die together on the train, and it's supposed to allude to, like, it's kind of like a split thing. Like, he time travels, but his like consciousness time travels, not his physical body. So like when he dies on the train, he dies of like a brain hemorrhage or something.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So did you see him die in the 80s then too, or not?
I did see him die in the 80s. Yeah. But I didn't know if that was like more metaphysical. I like didn't.
No, I
Yeah.
I really like the idea of time travel where the whole like your consciousness goes. There's a movie from the 80s called Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, where he travels back. Like the whole thing opens with him being a playwright in like 1980s Chicago, and this like 90-year-old woman comes up to him and says, "I knew I'd find you." And then he just becomes obsessed with like the woman dies and he becomes obsessed with who is this woman? And then he finds out that she was from she was a actress in the 1920s. And then he sends his consciousness back in time to the 1920s and falls in love with her. Like it's a really good movie that I think I'm going to have to put on the list now.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Because I really love a time travel story, and I've been.
Spoilers, but
yeah,
I'm excited.
Well, I didn't give away the ending, so.
Oh,
but
I thought that was the ending.
That's just the first act.
Damn. All right.
I'm looking at my notes and trying to think what else.
So when doing a little bit of research for this movie, I heard that the director filmed and put in scenes that are Easter eggs that, according to him, are quote unquote so hard to find that he doesn't think anyone will ever see them.
Yeah.
Easter eggs for what though? Because I heard about
other Black Mirror episodes. There's a few.
Well,
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's those. I actually while we were talking, looked up one of them. I don't know how the heck people find these things. So in one of them, one of the endings has a weird noise at the end. If you run that noise through in a ZX Spectrum emulator, it reveals a QR code that takes you to Tuckersoft website and lets you play that nosedive game that he was making on the computer.
That's cool.
Who finds this?
People are dedicated.
Good for them.
People are dedicated. Like, I'll tell you what, if I was like that with the show Lost, and you were there for that.
I was.
Like if Lost was like this kind of format, like with all the Easter eggs and QR codes and all of that, like I would totally be into all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
I did the augmented reality stuff that they did online.
Uh-huh.
So I totally get that. I'm just not that into Black Mirror. But I'm glad to see that the people are and that they keep doing this kind of shit. So
absolutely. So Ryan, has this do you now want to watch Black Mirror or any more Black Mirror after watching this, or has this completely turned you off?
Like I said, I got a concept of what Black Mirror, like the type of theme stuff that they do. I'm interested in the episodes.
Okay.
I am. I'm not like this particular thing.
Yeah.
I'm not too hot about.
Okay.
Sure. That's it.
Like we said, we talked a lot about this after we recorded our 2019 preview, but we weren't on mic for this. But we told Ryan to not watch the very first episode of Black Mirror. Like skip that one because I could tell you what the first episode of Black Mirror is, and you wouldn't believe me.
What is it? Just say it.
I mean, just tell him.
It's been on.
So the Prime Minister of Britain is blackmailed into fucking a pig live on national television
because his daughter's kidnapped.
Who thought that would be a good idea?
Right, and I mean, so the point of the episode is that it's meant to expose the influence that social media and the internet has on more parts of our lives than we think. And I think that's supposed to be the overall message. But the package in which it's delivered comes across as really, really, really weird. And I almost stopped watching it after that episode.
But then like the next episode is they live in the main guy from Get Out. They live in I don't even know how to describe it. You have to work on a treadmill to get merits and spend these merits to get food or get these different experiences for your cell, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so it has to do with all like him earning these merits for somebody else and transferring them over, and it's really good. And then the third one is what's it called again? You mentioned it the other night.
Oh, The Entire History of You.
Yes, where all of your memories are stored, where you can play them back.
Okay.
So
And it's so interesting, and like they do a good job of mixing the technology but showing you the human cost of technology.
yeah,
And that's what I love the most about Black Mirror.
there's a Christmas
And
episode.
honestly,
There's a Christmas episode with John Hamm.
oh, it was so good. It was so good. So, okay. So that's my favorite part about Black Mirror then, is the human cost of technology.
Yeah.
Did this episode show that?
Yeah, because he is so dedicated to the game that he loses himself no matter which way you play it.
Yeah.
Either way, either way, like I think in all the endings, he either dies or is in jail.
Like, there's no happy ending in this.
I mean,
there's really not.
Yeah, there's really not.
Because, I mean the thing is, like, if they would have made, and this is, I would have loved to watch whatever version they wanted to make this. You know, maybe not the goofy ending with, like, the Matrix style, like, fight scene, but, like, where he, like, kills his dad, or he dies himself, or he ends up in jail. Like, I really think that is just a good premise on its own. Like, I feel like there was an awesome message, an awesome message in this in this film concept that gets lost in the decide your own way of going about this. That's another little niche thing that I kind of have an issue with. It is that this, as a normal standalone film on one of the more interesting, you know, solid endings that you can get, that's not too open ended, to me, is a excellent idea and an excellent message and an excellent thing to do. And I feel like I said, it gets lost in the whole, like, you know, make your own adventure film. And that's one of the things that irked me a little bit at the end.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's the other reason I don't think that you can do a whole season like this. Like, you're going to lose the point of the message if you do that. So
depends on the
I mean, maybe.
I mean, from a filmmaking point of view, if we all sat down and wrote a script and then had a message that we wanted to get out to the audience with that script, and then if we gave the audience options on where to end that storyline, they're not going to get that message necessarily. Like, there's too many variables in there. It's like Mad Libs for film.
See, to me, this would be a better format for, like, an Indiana Jones type movie.
That would be an interesting concept.
That would be interesting. I would watch that.
See, to me, that would make it more interesting. Like, make it like action adventure.
Action adventure, I also think it would work for, like, a detective show.
It would. It would be great for a detective show.
I would love to see a procedural like this. Like Law and Order, Choose Your Own Adventure.
That would be really cool.
With Ice-T.
With Ice-T. So I've also heard that this
you're
is
controlling
Netflix's
Ice-T's
first time
actions.
of making the choose your own thing, but it's been done with children's programming before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, I haven't seen it in something I've heard, like, in passing, but I could see, like, episode of Dora the Explorer with, like, which way do I go? That way or that way? And then the other one's like, try again. And then you, like, do it again. I can see that being, like, a cool format for this.
It used to be a thing on YouTube. I know the Fine Brothers, before they just did React videos, used to do a choose your own adventure with like Lost action figures, where they did their own little Lost adventure with action figures of all the characters from Lost, and you would click a caption at the end of the video and choose your own adventure. Like, that used to be a thing. This was like, oh God, almost 8 years ago. It was back when we were in college. So,
man,
I found it on my phone. So backtracking a little bit, doing our own adventure podcast thing. You were talking about the first episode of Black Mirror, about it showing, like, how influenced, like, social media could be.
Yeah.
There was a movie that did that came out in 2008 called Untraceable.
I don't know if I know that one.
It is about a serial killer, not a serial killer, but a killer that uses the internet and sight hits to kill people. So he sets up these like contraptions of like, heat lamps or acid and water or, some other thing. And the motor that pulls the gun trigger or the motor that pours the acid into the water or the motor that, turns on the heat lamps and make them go brighter and brighter and brighter works by how many hits the website gets.
Yeah.
And it shows how for a movie made in 2008, they hit the nail on the head for social media. I think I really recommend that film to anybody listening.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's your first episode of Black Mirror.
I mean,
you don't have to watch some guy fucking a pig.
Yeah, that sounds more like
pardon my language.
Whereas that sounds more like a Saw movie, whereas Black Mirror isn't really.
It's not Saw.
It's not. I know. I'm saying it, but it's like that kind of situation where Black Mirror is more like dealing with like not like necessarily horror in that way, like blood and guts, because people die because of that, right?
Well, yeah.
Most of the time in Black Mirror, people don't die. It's just having to live with these consequences of having to fuck a pig or having somebody erased from your life completely to where you can't see them, where you just see a blur. Like it's like having to deal with the real life situations and consequences of actions due to technology.
Well, that's kind of what this movie touches on. There's only a very, very, there's only a very few scenes where they show like gore or blood or anything like that. And in fact, there's only one scene where it gets really bad, and even then it's still kind of like, Yeah. But what they're showing is that the guy in this movie, the antagonist, is after the cop who's trying to stop him because she comes across the site. So she's trying to stop him. So they're trying to figure out how to best handle this. Do we go public with it and tell people not to go to this site? Because in turn, that makes people curious and they want to go. And so, and then was it they brought in an attorney at some point and they said, look, he might be setting this stuff up, but it's not like we can go through all these different IP addresses and charge 50,000 people for murder.
Yeah.
At the same time, because they're curious and logging on. And there's a lot more messages than just that in this, but I've got Black Mirror. It's right here. It's called Untraceable, and it was filmed and released in 2008. Crime, mystery, and thriller.
Yeah, but even look at how much technology and social media has changed since 2008. And that movie was filmed in 2007.
But it's still relevant.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that...
but what I'm saying is Black Mirror, that one episode deals with social media. The rest of it doesn't necessarily have to deal with social media.
No, I know.
Nosedive
I'm talking
does,
about
from what I've seen of it.
I'm talking about the very first episode.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
the concept of the first episode was a movie that was made in 2008. That's 1,000 times better than what you described to me.
It sounds like a ripoff of Saw.
It's not Saw. It's not Saw, because I hate the Saw movies. I hate that whole genre.
Oh, I love the Saw movies. Like, for a lot of reasons.
I like the Saw movies just because they the continuity and the reveals at the end. Yep. All right. Any other thoughts on Bandersnatch?
No, I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it got a little meta, but I wanted to stick through and see all the endings. And I think there are some in my mind that I'm just in my mind going to say, this is the ending I got, despite having gotten the Netflix ending, despite having gotten the filming ending. I mean, despite having gotten like the he's in jail ending. In my mind, when I think about it, it ended a certain way, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and try to find the film set ending because that sounds interesting to me.
It's fun.
If go into it with the mindset that it's a game.
Yeah.
Don't look for an actual like throughout viewing experience, because you are going to have to break your concentration and actually pick and pick. That's the only suggestion I have. for it. I mean, I'm still lukewarm on it, but I mean, I totally see why people like it. I have you two right here to show me that. And the fact, I mean, it's insanely popular, and I get that. And I'm always one for saying it may not be my cup of tea, but if you enjoy it, go ahead. Like, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you why I don't like it. I'm not going to tell you why you shouldn't like it. So, you know, it's fun. Like I said, it's fun if you go into it with the right mindset.
I can agree with that.
All right. So, yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah.
For You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Stefan, you're worrying me.
Leave Stefan out of this.
Stefan. Your fate has been dictated.
You're not in control.